Okay, welcome back to the Lexicata Getting Started video series. In this video, we'll be walking through how to build document templates in Lexicata that you can send out for e-signature to your clients. So let's go ahead and go over to the Documents page, and then we're going to click on the Template Editor. So this is the place you would go to build your document templates. It's kind of similar to the Lexicata Form Builder, sort of an isolated area that all you do here is build and manage templates that you can send out to clients and have them sign. Okay, so let's start off by clicking the Create New Template button. And you're going to see that we have two different types of templates that you can create. Both kinds of templates can be automated, meaning they can be auto-populated with information from your contacts and your matters, but they work a little bit differently, so it's important to understand the difference between the two kinds of templates. The most basic way to explain it is that text editor templates have the ability to be edited within Lexicata. So you can basically draft them and make changes to the text directly in Lexicata, whereas PDF templates are pretty much static. So you're going to be uploading a PDF that's already created from your computer, and you can populate it with information, but you cannot change any of the underlying text in the document. So we'll go through these one by one, and I'll show you how each of them work and what the differences are. First, let's go ahead and do text editor templates. So we'll click on that. At the top, we can give it a name. Let's just say retainer letter template. You have the option to put your logo and letterhead on the document automatically. So it'll use the same logo and law firm information that you input in your settings. And that was also on your intake form, so that way it's consistent. If you want that, you can check the box. If you don't want that, you don't have to. The next thing here is the document settings. This is an important thing to understand because it's basically how you control how many contacts get automated into the document, as well as how many people and which people need to sign the document. So let's just click on the Edit Settings link here and I'll show you how this works. Basically, you can insert up to 10 different people and 10 different companies into this document. So by default, it's just going to have one as the option here. This is if you just have a single client, you just need maybe their name, their address, things like that. You could just leave it as one. If you needed more than one person, maybe a husband and a wife, or multiple family members, things like that, multiple contacts that are in Lexicata, you could change this and do 2 or 3 or however many people you need. But the point is you just need to know how many contacts information will need to be inserted into the document. And you'll be assigning those contacts later on when you draft an actual document out of this template. But this is just how you configure it so the template knows what to do when you draft it. For now, I'm just going to leave it as the default of 1 person, 0 companies. Below here, we have the HelloSign e-signature settings. So if you want to make a document that's not e-signed, you can do that. You can just say no. This will let you just draft the document and print it out. You can still automate it, but you won't be able to send it out for e-signature. If you do want to use the e-signature, you would say yes, and then you can choose who needs to sign. So both contacts in your account as well as users on your account have the ability to e-sign documents. So we're just going to say how many contacts here. You can have up to 4. And so typically if it's just a single client, you would just do 1. Again, if you needed like a husband and wife or multiple different contacts to sign, you can do 2 or more. And then for the user signers, basically, this is people within the law firm who have a login to Lexicata who need to sign the document. So a lot of times you might just do 1 if it's just a single attorney or a member of the firm who needs to sign. But you can also do 0 and you do still have the ability to sign. Basically, the distinction is a user signer will sign after all the contacts have signed. So when you send out the document for signing, the contacts will receive it first. Once all contacts have signed the document, any user signers will get a notification letting them know it's their turn to sign the document. If you don't care about signing after the client, you still can sign it when you send it out, and you can leave it as a 0 signer document. So just be aware of when you need to sign in the process. If you need to sign after the client, you do need to have at least 1 user signer. If you're okay with signing before the client, you can leave it as 0. And you'll sign it when you send it out. In this case, I'm just going to select 1 user signer, and I'll show you how the user signer feature works and how I get notified that it's my turn to sign after the client has signed. Okay, let's go ahead and click Save Settings, and then I'll show you how to create the document template. So the easiest way to do this is usually just to copy and paste an existing document template that you have in Word or another program into the text editor. Of course, you can also just type it out manually if you have the time, but to save time, I'm just going to go ahead and paste a document that I copied previously from my computer. So here it is. As you can see, all the text got inserted there. And basically at the top here, you have the typical kind of formatting tools that you might see in Microsoft Word or Google Docs or other document editor programs. So you can go through here and make any changes. For instance, I might want to center the document title. Let's just say legal services retainer. And then you'll notice here I have some sort of placeholder text that I would normally probably go through and replace manually for each client. But the nice thing about Lexicata's document automation is that you can do that automatically without having to type anything. So instead of today's date, let's just go ahead and delete that. And we can put in a field here under the additional fields option for today's date. That'll basically just calculate whatever the current day is, and it'll insert that as, January 5th, 2018, or whatever it is. And you'll notice it's highlighted in green. The colors, the highlighted colors throughout the document will indicate where the fields are that will be automated. Everything else is just plain text, so that'll just be standard or static unless you change it, but just keep that in mind as you're going about using these templates. So there are other field options as well. The additional fields is just dates and usernames, things like that. More commonly, you'll probably be using the person fields and the matter fields. So let's go down here. We also have first name, last name. So again, we'll go ahead and just delete that, and let's go ahead to our person fields drop down. You'll notice at the top there's a little label that says person parentheses P1. That means person 1. So remember before in the document settings how you could adjust how many people were in the document. This is how you're going to know which one is which. So if you had two contacts, it would say person 1. You'd have all the field options here, and then you'd also have person 2 with all the same field options for the second person. So that's how it basically works. Person 1 will be assigned to one contact, and all the person 1 fields will get populated with that contact's information. And then the same thing for person 2. That'll be assigned to a different contact, and the other contact's information will go everywhere there's a person 2 field. All right, so all you have to do to insert a field is simply put the cursor in the template and click on whichever field you want. So I'm going to go ahead and click on first name, and there it is. And it's going to say first name parentheses P1. Again, now you know that this first name field will be whichever contact you choose as P1. So let's do the same thing here and do last name. All right, pretty easy. We'll go down here, we'll take out the street address placeholder, and we're going to insert fields for that. Street address. Okay, and then let's finally do city, state, and zip code. Be aware also that it does insert a space automatically after each field to make it easier, so you don't have to type that every time. Sometimes you will want to delete those spaces. For instance, in this case, I was putting in a comma after the city, so you just need to be aware that there will automatically be a blank space after each field that gets inserted into the document. Okay, let's also put in a salutation and name here. So dear, the salutation would be Mr. or Mrs. or whatever you have set. So it would be, dear Mr. Doe for John Doe, something like that. Salutation and last name. All right, and then we just have basically the text of the document here. There's a couple other things I'm going to insert though. One will be the fee amount. So rather than typing that in manually each time, I am going to use a matter field. And I'm going to use the estimated value field. So that is basically the field you can put in on quick intake or from the matter page, and you can always update it at any point. So I'm going to use that field as the amount of fees that I'm going to be charging for my legal services. You'll see this one is marked as orange. The P1 fields are yellow and the date field is green. So they're all basically color coded so you know what type of field each one is. The orange ones always are matter fields. So that means that the information will be pulled from the matter that's linked to this document. The yellow ones are always contact fields. So it could be a person, it could be a company, and those will be P1, P2, or C1, C2 if it's a company, whichever contacts you choose as the contacts for the document. And then you have the green ones, which are the additional fields. So dates and things like that will just be in green. All right, so my document looks pretty good here. There's a couple more things I'm going to insert down at the bottom, and that will be the signature fields. So this is not required. You can always add the signature fields when you're actually sending the document out to be signed if you want. But to save time, you can add them into the template. That way you can basically bypass that step. You won't have to do it for each individual client because they'll be saved along with the template. So along with the field options up here, you have one that's called HelloSign. And again, we use HelloSign. That's our integration partner for the e-signature solutions. So you'll notice a list of signer one fields here: signature, initials, checkbox, sign date, text box. So there's different kinds of fields you can put in for signer one to fill out. And because I did a user signer, I also have user signer one fields. So all the same options are available for user signer one as for signer one. All right, so I'm going to put the cursor here, and this is where my own signature is going to go. So I'll go back to my HelloSign, drop down here, and I will go down to user signer one, and I'm going to click on signature. So now this is the signature field for user signer one. In this case, it's going to be me. So this is where I'll be signing the document. Okay. And finally, let's go ahead and put in the place for the client signature. So that's not going to be user signer, but that will be regular signer one signature. And then I'm going to put in their first and last name one more time here. Finally, I'm going to put the date of signature, and that is going to be the sign date field. It'll automatically use the date when they actually execute the document, so it's not necessarily when you sent it out. HelloSign is smart enough to input the correct date on the day the document is fully signed. So there it is. And again, these fields are blue for HelloSign, so 4 color-coded options. Blue is HelloSign, green is dates and additional fields, yellow for contact fields, and orange for matter fields. So pretty straightforward process, really, when you think about it. And now the nice thing is I can use this template repeatedly for every client. It's going to insert the appropriate information, their name, their address, as well as the amount of fees. And I'll have the signature fields ready to go at the bottom. So all I have to do is put in my e-signature and the client will do the same, and the document will be fully executed. Okay, so the last thing is make sure you click Save Template. It'll take me back into my template editor, the main page, and here it is, my retainer letter template. And you'll notice it's under text editor templates. So that's where all of those will be. And next, let's go ahead and show you quickly how to do a PDF template, because that process is a little bit different. So I'm just going to click Create New Template once again, this time choosing PDF template. And as I mentioned before, the key difference between PDF and text editor templates is that the PDF is static. So let's just do PDF upload or PDF template example. Basically, you're going to upload an existing PDF document and use that as the template. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll choose one from my computer. So I'm just going to choose this HIPAA form that I have as an example. Again, PDF templates are ideal for situations where you have a standardized form that just needs to be signed or maybe a couple of fields filled out, but you don't need to actually edit the underlying form itself. So I'm going to do this HIPAA form. Just like with the text editor templates, you have the ability to specify the automation settings, so how many contacts information will go into the document, as well as how many companies, and also how many signers and user signers. So I'll just do one contact and one signer. It'll just be the client signing, not me, so no user signers. And then below, this is one of the bigger differences between the text editor templates and the PDF templates. You basically have to predefine which fields you want to use in the template. So with the text editor templates, it's nice because you can just insert them directly into the text. With the PDFs, because it's an upload, you have to specify what fields you want to go into it before you actually start editing it. So just keep that in mind. You may want to reference the PDF while you do this to make sure you don't miss any. And you also are not able to go back and edit this later, unfortunately, so you do need to get it right the first time. So to err on the side of caution, you may just want to do even more fields than necessary just so you have them in case. But basically, you can just choose things like full name, address, just do that, city, state, zip code, date of birth, or I'll do birthday, since that was the one I used previously, and then SSN. All right, good enough. I'll do today's date just in case. Okay, so once you've checked the fields off that you want, go back up to the top, make sure everything looks good. And let's actually just change this. HIPAA form. Okay. Create template. So what this does, it's going to take that PDF that you uploaded and it's going to open it in HelloSign. So again, HelloSign is a third-party company, but it's fully integrated into Lexicata. You don't have to pay extra for this or download anything or install anything or sign up for any other accounts. It's part of your Lexicata account, but this is the HelloSign editor. So it's just a little bit different the way it works, and this is something that they've developed, not us, so we don't have control over it. But I will show you how it works. Here you can see my PDF form. This is what I uploaded from my computer. And now basically you can go through the PDF, and anywhere there's a fill in the blank box like this, you can insert different fields. The field options here are at the top. You have signature, initials, text box, checkbox, and sign date. So let's go ahead and start inserting some of these fields. I'm going to do a text box right here for the name of the patient. When you add the field, there's a couple things you can do. You can resize it if you want to make it bigger, and you can basically configure what information is going to go into that field and who will be filling it out. So this little pop-up box will show up here whenever you click on any of these fields. It's going to say who fills this out at the top. There's three different options. One is me now. So if this is some static information that you want to type into the template that you will not be able to edit later, you could do that. If you choose me now, you would just put in some kind of static text. Again, this is going to be saved into the template, but you won't be able to edit that later. So keep that in mind. There are occasions when that makes sense to use that, but oftentimes you will not want to do that. Okay, instead of me now, you could also do Lexicata when sending. When Lexicata fills it out, that means it's going to be automated. So Lexicata is going to auto-populate that field with information from your Lexicata account. So when you select Lexicata, you'll then choose what text will go into that field. And this is where you can choose from any of those fields you checked on the previous screen, the little checkboxes. So here we go, P1 full name, and this works the same as it does on text editor templates. You have P1, P2, P3, just like you do there, so you can know which contact's information goes where. Here I'm going to do P1's full name, and now when I go to create a document out of this template, it'll insert the name of my client, P1, into this field automatically. All right, so I can also let's do another text box here. Make this one bigger. The third option for who fills this out is going to be signer 1. So typically signer 1 would always be the client who's filling it out, but keep in mind you actually do have the ability to fill this out yourself when you're drafting the document as well. It's not the most intuitive thing, but that is possible. So if there is a situation when you want to have just a blank text box that you or somebody at your firm can fill out, you can still make it a signer 1 field. So I'm going to show you how that works later. For now, just put in the text box here and we'll leave it as signer 1. There are other things you can do, like making it required, choosing a type of validation, so only certain types of inputs are allowed, like an email address, a zip code, a social security number, so on. I'm just going to leave it as none, and that's that. So I can do the same thing here for the type of health information if I want, and I'm going to leave it as signer 1 again so that I can just type it in myself. Okay, and this probably isn't actually how this would be intended to be used, but just for demonstration purposes, since I have those address fields, let's go ahead and put them in right here. So I'm going to do another text box. I'm going to say Lexicata when sending, and I'm going to choose street address. We'll do another one next to it, and we'll choose city. And one more, state. Let's make these a little bit smaller. And finally, zip code. Okay, so you should get the idea. You can basically move these around, put them in place, and Lexicata will automatically fill out these text boxes with the corresponding information for the client or matter that you chose. Okay. Finally, let's do a signature here. So you can go up here, click on signature, and then you can put in the block here. Same kind of thing here. You can say who signs. You would choose either signer 1, signer 2, or user signer 1, user signer 2, depending. In this case, I only had the one signer, and so I'm just going to do signer 1. Finally, I'm going to do a sign date here. Okay. And remember, this date gets automatically input. The person signing doesn't even have to fill this out. It's going to automatically insert the correct day's date when they are signing. Finally, just for demonstration purposes again, let's just do some initials at the bottom, show you how that works. They'll be able to initial there. Notice also you can make these required so they won't be able to submit it back to you unless they initial or sign in those certain fields. All right, so hopefully that all is clear. Pretty cool process. And now that once I've created this template, I'll be able to use it repeatedly, send it out, or get it filled out and signed by multiple different clients. And it really streamlines the process for me. So that's that for creating PDF templates. Let's go ahead and click continue. That will save it. And I'll be back here in my template editor. Now I have two templates, one text editor template at the top, one PDF template here at the bottom. So that wraps up this video on how to make different kinds of document templates within Lexicata. In the next video, I'll be showing you how to actually draft documents using these templates and how to send them out for e-signature to clients. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.